All right, we often hear that bread is a guilty pleasure, carb heavy, and full of empty calories.
Hovis. There's a bit of spiel about them there. If you want to have a look at that, there's more nutritional information, but these are the ingredients. Look, the allergens are wheat and soya.
You probably think the bread on your kitchen shelf is safe and even healthy, but the truth is much more worrying. 8 of the UK's most popular bread brands are quietly full of chemicals, preservatives, and industrial additives that would shock anyone who thought they were giving their family real food. From soft, bouncy loaves to whole grain claims that are mostly marketing, these breads are made for profit, not health.
They didn't want anyone else's bread to be in there because obviously if someone had a bad experience with that bread.
Some have ingredients linked to behavior problems, diabetes, and long-term health issues. So, which breads are secretly harming you, and how can you stay safe? Join us in this video as we reveal the details. Number 8. Warburton's. Warburton's is a very popular bread brand in the United Kingdom and is found in almost every supermarket. While it is widely used and recognized as a British classic, there are concerns about the ingredients used in its bread and the way it is made. A standard white loaf from Warburton's contains an ingredient called E472E. This is an emulsifier, which helps mix ingredients together and keep the bread soft. On paper, it is approved for use in food, but research has shown that emulsifiers can upset the natural balance of bacteria in the gut. The gut is very important for overall health because it helps with digestion, supports the immune system, and even affects mental health. When the gut balance is disturbed, it can create problems not just in digestion, but throughout the body. Another ingredient found in Warburton's bread is a flour treatment agent that contains lysine. Lysine is an amino acid that can be made from unusual sources, including duck feathers or human hair. While these ingredients are technically safe for consumption, many people would be surprised or uncomfortable knowing they are part of the bread they eat, especially for children. This shows that the bread contains highly processed ingredients that are not obvious to most buyers. The method used to make Warburton's bread is known as the Chorleywood process, which is an industrial way of making bread very quickly. Traditionally, bread would take 12 to 16 hours to rise and develop flavor. The Chorleywood method reduces this time to less than 3 hours by using fast mixers that force air into the dough, adding more yeast, and including chemical additives to make it rise quickly. This process changes the natural structure of the wheat proteins, which makes the bread harder to digest. People who eat this bread often experience bloating or discomfort after meals. The process also prevents the bread from developing natural flavors and nutrients.
So there's more salt in the Warburtons. That's 0.43 grams. And that's 103 calories.
To make the bread taste better, manufacturers add more sugar, salt, and fat. Essentially, the bread becomes a soft, chemical-based product rather than a naturally fermented, nutritious food. Eating Warburton's bread regularly can therefore affect digestion, gut health, and overall nutrition. The combination of industrial production, chemical additives, and processed ingredients may have effects that go beyond just feeling full or bloated. Consumers may think they are buying a normal white loaf, but in reality, it is a highly processed food designed to be cheap, soft, and long-lasting, rather than naturally healthy. If Warburton's bread, a staple in many homes, can quietly affect gut health and digestion, what about other brands that claim to be wholesome and traditional? Are they really any better? Let's find out. Number 7. Hovis. Hovis is another popular British bread brand that markets itself as traditional, healthy, and wholesome. Its advertising often focuses on nostalgia, heritage, and natural goodness. However, when the ingredients are examined more closely, the bread contains several components that raise health concerns. One of these ingredients is caramel coloring. Many people assume that caramel coloring is just a form of sugar, but it is actually made through a chemical process that can produce a compound called formethidazole. Studies in animals have suggested that this compound may increase the risk of cancer. The amount in a single slice of bread is very small, but because people often eat bread every day, the exposure adds up over time. Hovis bread also contains palm oil in some of its products. This oil is heavily processed and stripped of most nutrients, meaning it is used mainly as a cheap way to make bread softer. Palm oil does not provide the same health benefits as natural fats from unprocessed foods. In addition, some Hovis breads contain soya flour. Soya is often genetically modified, and unless it is specifically labeled organic, it is very likely to be GMO. Soya flour is cheaper than wheat flour and is often added to help the dough rise faster, but it is not necessarily better for health. Another concern is with Hovis's wholemeal bread. In many cases, the bread is not truly wholemeal. The process involves milling wheat to make white flour, which removes the bran and germ. Some of this removed material is then added back into the flour to make it appear as wholemeal. This method reduces the nutritional value of the bread because the natural structure of the wheat is destroyed. As a result, the bread contains fewer vitamins, minerals, and natural fibers than real wholemeal bread. Consumers may think they are buying a healthy traditional product, but they are actually consuming a heavily processed version of wheat with limited nutritional benefits. Hovis bread is therefore an example of how marketing can give a false impression of health and tradition. While it appears wholesome and natural, the bread contains additives, processed oils, and ingredients that have been modified or engineered to reduce cost and improve texture. Consumers who buy this bread may believe they are making a healthy choice, but the actual product is closer to a processed food designed for taste, cost, and shelf life, rather than for real nutrition. If you thought supermarket bread was simply fresh and wholesome, how could a well-known premium brand be misleading shoppers about what's really in its loaves? Stay tuned for more. Number 6. Marks & Spencer. One of the most well-known businesses in the UK, Marks & Spencer, is being investigated because of issues with how it advertises its baked goods. The problem comes with some bread rolls that are advertised as having just 5 ingredients. According to investigations, these goods actually include between 11 and 15 ingredients. Thus, the information on the package is not accurate. The company counts multiple types of flour as one ingredient and markets dried fermented flour as sourdough, even though it does not provide the nutritional or fermentation benefits of real sourdough. This practice has been seen as misleading because it encourages shoppers to pay higher prices for products that do not meet the standards advertised. The investigation also revealed that the bakery experience in stores is not what it appears. Signs and packaging promote bread as baked in store today, or freshly baked, giving the impression that bread is made from scratch on site. In reality, bread arrives frozen from a large industrial facility in Wrexham that produces around 75,000 loaves per week. In-store staff simply heat the frozen bread, creating the appearance of freshness. As a result, shoppers may pay between £230 and £450 per loaf for bread that is reheated industrial product, yet marketed as artisanal. This practice has drawn the attention of regulatory authorities. Birmingham City Council is checking whether the company violated consumer protection rules by deceiving customers with false ingredient information and marketing claims, and Trading Standards has opened a formal investigation. The strategy used by Marks & Spencer draws attention to a larger problem in the retail baking industry, where certain ingredient lists and industrial procedures can be hidden by premium branding. Health-conscious customers who demand real, natural, and handcrafted goods are the company's target market. Marks & Spencer misrepresents the content and quality of their bread by advertising frozen bread as fresh and identifying bread as having only 5 ingredients when it actually has several unreported ingredients. Regulatory oversight and informed consumer choices are key to addressing such practices and ensuring that buyers receive products that match the promises made on the label. If even a premium brand can mislead customers with frozen and industrially processed bread, what happens when a historic bakery abandons its founding principles for modern industrial shortcuts? Let's learn more. Number 5. Allinson. Allinson, a historic British bread brand, demonstrates how modern industrial baking has moved away from its original values. The company was founded by Dr. Thomas Allinson, a health reformer who insisted on producing pure wholemeal flour without removing parts of the grain or adding artificial substances. He operated a stone mill to ensure that flour retained all of its natural nutrients and structure. Today, Allinson is owned by Allied Bakeries, part of Associated British Foods, and has adopted industrial methods that depart significantly from the founder's original principles. The brand now uses high-speed roller mills instead of traditional stone milling. This allows for rapid flour production, but reduces nutritional quality and alters the structure of the wheat. The company also employs the Chorleywood bread process, an industrial technique that reduces bread production from 24 hours to as little as 3.5 hours. This method uses very high-speed mixing, extra yeast, hard fats, and chemical dough conditioners to speed up production. While efficient, this process changes the texture and nutritional profile of bread and makes it easier to mass produce. Allinson's sourdough products, which are marketed as artisanal and fermented, are produced using these rapid industrial methods. Details about fermentation times and the use of processing aids are not disclosed, as the company considers them trade secrets. This lack of transparency prevents consumers from fully understanding what they are purchasing. UK law allows bread makers to use up to 15 different enzymes as processing aids without listing them on packaging. These enzymes are assumed to be inactivated during baking, but research shows some remain active in the bread. For example, fungal alpha amylase can survive baking and cause allergic reactions, while transglutaminase has been linked to triggering responses in people with celiac disease. These hidden additives are used to improve dough handling and shelf life, but they also pose potential health risks that consumers cannot see or avoid. Consumer awareness, labeling transparency, and regulatory oversight are necessary to ensure that modern industrial bread meets health and safety expectations while providing honest information about its contents. If some breads can betray trust with hidden risks, what other dangers might be quietly hiding in the loaves we think are safe? Keep watching to find out. Number 4. Sara Lee. Sara Lee bread is known for being soft, sweet, and easy to eat, often seen as a reliable choice for families. Its packaging promises comfort, nostalgia, and wholesome goodness, making it look like a safe option for toast, sandwiches, or quick snacks. But closer inspection shows that the reality is very different. There are hidden risks in this bread that people, especially seniors and those managing health issues, need to know about. One major concern is the sugar hidden in Sara Lee bread. The bread tastes soft and sweet, but it contains added sugar that is not obvious when you look at the label. For seniors or people managing blood sugar, this can be a serious problem. One slice may not seem like much, but eating multiple sandwiches in a week can cause unexpected spikes in blood sugar. Over time, this can affect insulin levels and increase the risk for diabetes or other blood sugar issues. Another problem is the way the yeast works in Sara Lee bread. Inspectors and consumers have noticed that some batches have too much yeast activity even after packaging. This can make the bread feel spongy or uneven, and some slices can have trapped gas pockets. This is not just unpleasant to eat, it can also cause digestive problems like bloating, cramps, or diarrhea. Seniors are more vulnerable because their digestion may be weaker, or they may be taking medication that affects their gut. These hidden sugars and yeast problems show that Sara Lee bread may not be as safe as it seems. While it is marketed as family-friendly and comforting, it can create health problems for people who rely on predictable, safe food. The FDA has noted issues with sugar content and fermentation in some batches, suggesting these are repeated problems, not one-time mistakes. Consumer reports confirm that people sometimes feel sick or uncomfortable after eating this bread. If some breads quietly load your body with hidden sugar, what happens when a loaf looks rich and substantial, but the flavor and nutrition tell a different story? Let's delve deeper. Number 3. Chleb Boltanowski Premium Bread. Boltanowski Premium Bread, sold as Chleb, looks like a rich artisan loaf. Its thick crumb and firm texture make it feel heavy and carefully made. The packaging and appearance give the impression that this is a traditional, high-quality bread made with patience and skill. However, research from Action on Salt's National Packaged Bread Survey shows that this loaf contains around 1.3 grams of salt per 100 grams, making it one of the saltiest sliced breads in UK shops. For consumers expecting a light artisan-style bread, this level of salt is much higher than expected. The bread's flavor and texture reinforce this misleading image. It feels dense and firm, but the taste is dominated by salt instead of natural grain sweetness or depth. True slow-fermented breads develop flavor over time, with subtle aroma and gentle texture. But Baltanowski uses salt and industrial processes to achieve a strong, uniform flavor quickly. This shows a common pattern in modern supermarket bread. To save time, increase shelf life, and make the loaf look appealing, manufacturers rely on additives, salt, and fast production methods. The result is bread that looks good and feels solid, but does not have the taste or nutritional quality of traditional bread. Eating this bread regularly can quietly increase daily salt intake. Since bread is often eaten multiple times a day, the hidden salt can add up, raising the risk of high blood pressure and heart problems over time. People who trust packaging or the premium look may not realize how much salt they are consuming. If you thought your favorite bread was simple, how would you feel knowing that the soft, fluffy slices your kids love might actually be loaded with chemicals banned in other countries? Let's take a closer look. Number 2. Wonder Bread. Wonder Bread has been a staple in American households for decades, known for its soft white slices, colorful packaging, and nostalgic appeal. Marketed as a healthy choice for children, it claims to build strong bodies. However, closer examination of its ingredients and production reveals significant concerns. Wonder Bread contains azoticarbonamide, a chemical used in making yoga mats and shoe soles. When baked, this chemical breaks down into semicarbazide and urethane, which are linked to cancer in lab studies and are banned in countries like the EU, Australia, and Canada. The bread also includes calcium propionate, a preservative shown to worsen behavioral issues in children, including irritability, sleep problems, and difficulty concentrating. The flour is chemically bleached with chlorine dioxide or benzoyl peroxide, creating compounds studied in lab rats for links to diabetes. This produces a soft, sponge-like texture, but makes the bread harder to digest, often causing bloating. Nutritionally, each slice contains 230 milligrams of sodium and added sugars. The bread is low in fiber, meaning it provides little nutritional value, while the chemicals and additives prioritize shelf life and production efficiency over health. Children and families consuming Wonder Bread may unknowingly ingest compounds that affect digestion, metabolism, and behavior. If Wonder Bread's soft slices are secretly full of chemicals, could the bread branded as natural and wholesome really be any better? Let's find out. Number 1. Nature's Own. Nature's Own bread is widely marketed as a natural and healthy choice. Its green packaging, wheat imagery, and the word nature suggest wholesome ingredients. However, the reality is far different. The bread contains datem, diacetyl tartaric acid esters of mono and diglycerides, a synthetic emulsifier that studies show can disrupt gut bacteria, affecting digestion, immune function, and overall health. It also contains high fructose corn syrup, HFCS, which can contribute to insulin spikes, obesity, fatty liver disease, and metabolic syndrome. The flour is enriched and bleached, stripped of its natural bran and germ, and fortified with synthetic vitamins that the body absorbs poorly. Soybean oil is added to soften the bread, but this oil is high in omega-6 fatty acids, which can cause inflammation. Most of the soybean is genetically modified and may carry glyphosate residues, a chemical linked to cancer. Nature's Own uses industrial processing to achieve soft texture and long shelf life. High-speed mixing and chemical additives replace traditional fermentation methods, destroying natural gluten structures and altering the bread's digestibility. Despite the natural label, there is no regulation preventing the inclusion of processed or synthetic ingredients. each slice also contains significant sodium and added sugar. Combined with its low fiber content, this bread can cause blood sugar spikes, insulin issues, and other long-term health concerns. In summary, Nature's Own relies on marketing rather than healthy ingredients. The natural branding is misleading, masking highly processed components and synthetic additives that may impact gut health, metabolism, and overall nutrition. Consumers seeking real, wholesome bread should read labels carefully, as the product's appearance can be deceptive. Many of the breads you trust share a hidden truth. They are engineered for profit, not health. These brands rely on industrial processes that make bread softer, longer lasting, and cheaper to produce. But in the process, they strip away natural nutrients and add synthetic chemicals. All of these breads share one key feature. They look wholesome and market themselves as healthy, but behind the packaging is a mix of synthetic additives, refined flours, and industrial fats. Consumers pay for branding and marketing while getting minimal nutrition. These popular bread brands are not what they appear. They are ultra-processed, chemically treated, and designed for convenience, shelf life, and profit rather than genuine nutrition. Choosing these products repeatedly means exposing your body to unnecessary chemicals and missing out on the natural benefits of real, minimally processed bread. Awareness, careful label reading, and opting for authentic whole grain or homemade breads are the only ways to avoid these hidden risks. What do you think about these brands? Share your thoughts in the comments section below. Thank you for joining us as we uncovered the shocking truths behind the bread brands you trust every day. If this deep dive helped you see what's really in your loaf and why you should think twice before buying, don't forget to like and subscribe. Click the next video on your screen to explore more secrets. See you there.